Let's take it to Seattle. The Seahawks made an interesting move this week, cutting their leading tackler, Tyrel Dodson. Richard, what the heck do you make of this?
What I make of it is what I said before. You let Bobby Wagner walk, and again, we talked about this before, weeks before, and the reviews and the comments were mixed. You know, some Seahawks fans were like, "Oh, he's washed, he's this, he's slow," and I hate when people say that because I know you don't know football. When you say he's slow, the hell are y'all like? What are you watching? Like, I can give you linebackers that run 4.3 that couldn't tackle anything, that couldn't get nobody stopped, couldn't cover a bed with a blanket just because they're fast. Like, I understand age. You know, Father Time is undefeated. Gotcha. But when you have a quality player who brings more to the table than just football, he brings quality football because he was an all-pro. They don't just give those out. They don't just vote for anybody. They don't just say, if they did that, Mitchell, then they would have a lot more all-pros. Then those two guys they brought in would have had all-pro resumes because they just give them out. That's what people were telling me. That's why Bobby Wagner got him. No, that's not why he got him. He's playing high-level football. And so if you're going to need a linebacker to help you with transition and you have an all-pro already on the roster, you keep him. And I thought that was a mistake, and I can go down the list, and it's a long list of mistakes that I thought John Snyder's made over the years, but this was a huge one, and he made it twice. And he said, hey, we're going with the PFF, and PFF's highest and second highest, like, graded coverage linebackers. Like, wait, what? And that's what they were, you know, no offense to those guys, you know, no offense to Tyrel Dodson, and like, that's what they were saying. Those guys are quality players and probably could play. But there's a reason Mike McDonald looked at the tape after a bye week and said, he's the problem. We're cutting him. Not we're benching him and we're going to figure something else out. He says, hey, we looked at the tape, and he said it in as respectful a way as you can. But he said, we looked at the tape. There were some issues in the run game that we couldn't get stopped. It was the most politically correct way you could ever talk this. He should go into politics. But we cut the guy because he wasn't getting it done. And then you trade Jerome Baker away to get a linebacker you wanted. So that was $11 million at the minimum, because it could have been up to like $12.5 million that you spent on linebackers to replace Bobby Wagner that are no longer on the roster 9 games into the season. 9 games into the season. You spent $11 million. I don't know if Bobby's making 7 this year. So you could have spent $7 million to keep a homegrown, like a guy. He already has his house, doesn't have to move, knows the facility, doesn't even have to move his locker. Sure, he has to learn McDonald's scheme, but a guy who knows the scheme, knows his team, knows his teammates, respected in the locker room, respected in, like, I can't quantify that kind of impact and the value of that. And so it was really frustrating then, and now it's even more frustrating to see the moves now, because you're basically conceding that you made mistakes. But you're conceding that you made mistakes in the middle of the season. And so it's just really disappointing. It was disappointing at the end, but I'm not going to stop talking about it because you made my friend move all the way across the country, and I can't get to have lunch with him and have dinner and talk shop because he has to be in Washington. He's having a good time and having a good win. I get to go see him on Thursday. I'm thankful for that. But that's enough. Like, it was a mistake, clearly. And they're admitting it by cutting the guy. They paid him 4. They trade away Jerome Baker. They paid him 7. They paid him $7 million.
You're spot on, Richard. I mean, this team is in desperate need of Bobby Wagner, frankly. I mean, I was going to say a veteran leader, and that is Bobby Wagner. This defense in Seattle concerns me. I think they get DK Metcalf back this week, and that offense gets back up and rolling. But let's just cut right to it. I mean, do you see Seattle as a reasonable playoff team here?
Yeah, I think it's a dogfight. You know, it's a very unpredictable NFC West right now. It's up for grabs. They're going to have to get this win this week. They got San Francisco 49ers, and they got to go to San Francisco or to Santa Clara, and that's a win they need to have, both from a psychological perspective and from a standings perspective. That gets them where they need to be, right on track to control their own destiny. But if they don't, then it gets really concerning, and moves like they just made where you cut your leading tackler, there it's giving a little bit of panic in the building. And so hopefully that's not shown on the field, and they go out there and they're able to protect Geno Smith. And I cannot emphasize that enough. He's been hit way too much this season. And I know people are like, he's been off. When you're getting hit that often, and people by your feet and you can't step up, he's throwing at weird arm angles, and he still was leading the league in yards. So I think they're going to have to find a way to shore up that protection on the offensive line, find some running room for the run game. Hopefully, DK Metcalf is coming back. JSN had a huge game the last time they were out. They unfortunately in a loss. We'll see what this new linebacking core is able to do, but they got to have this one. This game against San Francisco will be a very telling game.